Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map, and in this video I would like to share with you some of my experiences from my recent Vipassana retreat, and also life was happening while I was at Vipassana, and just show you what arrived in the post for reviews and things that I purchased and they came when I was away. So for those people who have never heard of Vipassana, it is a non-religious meditation technique, and it is the technique that I was taught, and this was my fourth course, is taught by S.N. Goenka, and it is in the tradition of Sayagyi Ubankin. So Mr. Goenka was a householder, so a person who comes from a business family. He had wife, he had family, he had life like kind of each one of us who is not a monk. And so he couldn't really, focus his whole attention on Vipassana. And how this technique, which is a very ancient technique, was spread, and preserved from Buddha's teachings and Buddha's experience and Buddha's enlightenment, is in its purest form. And I think it's true, because obviously you ask, there's so many different ways to enlightenment, to achieve a state of non-attachment and a state of peace and happiness, right, inside of us, the heaven on earth. And there's so many different techniques, and there's so many different paths, and so many different paths work. I quite enjoy this one because this one connects logic, mind, and body, which is just a very unique experience, and it brings you so much closer to yourself, and to makes you realize so many things that get clouded and through our busy lives and cravings this and aversion to this, you kind of get really away from yourself. It's so deep, I'm still integrating. As I said, this was my fourth course, and again, for people who are total beginners, like new to this technique, to even this word Vipassana, there is a website, right? It's called dhamma.org. I will link it in the description box, so you can read, you can see some videos, because it's really important to preserve it in the purest form, and how these courses are done, which I appreciate so much. There's no room for corruption, there's no room for interpretations of teachers, and how you have a, let's say, beautiful guru like Christ or Buddha, and then people develop the technique further and it just gets added, cut out, changed. So how Goenka did it, which is quite incredible, he used videos when he teaches the technique, and then there are assistant teachers right now. So Mr. Goenka, he died in 2013. Throughout most of his life, adult life, he was teaching Vipassana courses, and his story is also really interesting. So I don't know if they share it on the website, but I hope they do. And I'm sharing this in this video because I would like everyone who has a slight interest in meditation to try one of those 10 days courses. So again, because I'm digressing, so if you never heard about Vipassana actually means, it comes from Pali, so the ancient language which was used in the times of Buddha. Vipassana means to see things as they really are. And basically this is what you practice during this 10-day course. You learn how to observe sensations in your body, and you practice how to keep equanimity of the mind. And to be honest, as I said, this was my fourth course, and I started feeling like I just started to get what it's really about, because we are so engraved in craving and in aversion that it takes a long time to even notice when you crave and when you like don't want something, and it's just so experiential. I think it's really hard to explain things to someone who hasn't taken those courses to really know what one is talking about, because everybody also experiences things differently. You know, you deal with different issues, you deal with different attachments, different aversions, different pains. It's really hard work. It's quite intense experience on the body physically, but also on the mind. You're not allowed to listen to any music, you're not allowed to read anything, to write anything, to talk. It's a silent retreat. You are in a very secluded environment. Everyone has its own room, at least in this Polish center, which is amazing, because when I started we shared rooms with people, and I heard that most of the centers in the world have actually shared accommodation. Here in Poland, that was, I think it's the only maybe center in the world which was built specifically from the get-go for the purpose of being a center. Usually the centers were like adopted, you know, in some farms or some buildings that were bought up, and then they were organized and adapted into the center. The Polish center was built from like everything was, the earth was, like the land was bought for the meditation purpose. The center was built from the beginning, organized, you know, featured, fixed, how it's supposed to be. So it's an amazing, like totally VIP experience, and everybody has their own cell and everybody has their own bathroom. You have beautiful meditation hall, you know, you kind of have perfect conditions to practice. And this is actually the technique that was born through Buddha in India, and it's a universal technique. You can be Christian, you can be Muslim, you can be Buddhist, you can be Hindu, you can be Jewish. It doesn't really matter. It's not sectarian. It's Dhamma. It's like a law of nature. So it really is you working with the breath and with your body, with the sensations of the body, observing it. And it has no visualizations, no mantras, no added things on top of it. It's just you and your breath and your body. So you can be in any religion and still do it to your own benefits. So I'm just looking at the website, just thinking what I want to. So the technique is taught as a 10-day residential course, and you learn the method. There is a special method, so don't expect that you just like go there for 10 days, you're just trying to sit and meditate, whatever that means. You are being guided. There's evening discourses, which are really amazing. The technique is explained properly, you practice, and you go as, you know, as deep as you allow yourself to go. And what's interesting is that there is no charges for the courses. So your place was paid by somebody who has done the course before you, so-called old students. And you become an old student as soon as you finish the 10 days course. So usually that goes that if you felt enriched by this technique and you want somebody else to also get the experience and get the benefits from doing the course, that's when you give donation, how much you can. And what's most important about giving this donation is not how much you give, but what space you give from. So you really, while you're giving it, you really want somebody to benefit from doing the course, right? So everything there, it's so pure, and there's no, like sometimes when you come back from one of those courses and you see things, you hear things on the radio, on YouTube, you know, it doesn't take long to go back into the old rut. So, you know, I've done the 4 courses, of course, but I was back into the quick life very quickly. It's very hard to practice when you leave those secluded conditions. But this time I'm also having like a strong motivation and a strong kind of decision that I'm going to meditate at least 1 hour a day to strengthen that resolve, you know, and strengthen this practice, because it has to be experiential, it has to be practiced for you to receive the benefits of it, and for you to actually deepen and make it practical and use it in your daily life, and not only when you're away, you know, in quiet cell and nobody talks to you and then it's so easy. But when it comes to my personal experience, it was really interesting to see that as I mentioned, my 4th time, and I just kind of think I started getting what's all about. Second of all, every time it's a little bit different. The first time it's like the first love, it's like first sex, you know, it's like first. It's amazing, you never repeat the first time. It's a constant surprise of what you can do, how long you can sit, how painful it can get, and so on. You're waking up every morning at 4 a.m. You start your first meditation at 4:30. You have, like, you know, very disciplined and organized timetable. You meditate a couple of times, and, you know, I can't share a lot about the technique itself because it has to be taught by a teacher. But what I would love to share, and why I'm doing this video, is I would love each one of you, as I said, who at least feels a little inkling to go and check it out. There are centers all over the world, in most countries in the world. You can go to the center and retreat in your own country. You can come to Poland, to our amazing center, if you want. And if you go to the website, which I mentioned is dhamma.org, dhamma.org, there is a lot of information which you can, you know, receive. What these courses usually give me, it's the best shadow work ever. Like, sometimes when I think of the shadow work that we, you know, do, like, it always everything is helpful a little bit, right? But this was a proper shadow work. This was just you and your mind and your body and your pains and your cravings and your aversions and what you want and what you think you want, what you think you deserve, why you don't have it. It's amazing to observe all of it, and it's amazing to have this reset of your brain, you know, and see how much your brain lies. So one experience, you know, a day, maybe, I think it was days after day 7, like, we had this discourse when Goenka said that we can observe our bodily sensations when you can't sleep, for example, rather than get stressed out and start creating a version and mental story of, like, oh my God, I can't sleep, I will be so tired tomorrow, and so on, you know, and create this whole mental bubble. You lie and observe with the technique the sensations in the body. So I thought I'm going to just invent like a story that, like, let's say my new iPhone is gone, like somebody like stole it, and I was lying in bed. It was an invented story, right? And my mind, while I was thinking this, my iPhone is gone, my iPhone is gone, I was watching my body, and I had like rivers of sensations, meaning like this kind of like panic coming from around my belly into my head. My heart started pumping, my breath changed, my body went really hot, you know, my legs went numb. When this started kind of receiving, my legs started pumping. And in the, like, you learn to observe these things, right? Not to react to them straight away. And I was just thinking, like, how intense we can make ourselves feel in seconds only by what we think, you know. And that's why often when you get readings with me, you've probably heard me say, don't believe everything you think. After a couple of these courses, I start really thinking about it, that we actually create everything in our lives, like 100% everything, with the way we are trained or conditioned to think about reality, to think about ourselves, to think about other people. And wow, I was safely lying in the bed, just thinking, my iPhone is gone, my iPhone is gone. My body responded to this lie, believing it to be true, and reacted in a way by overflooding me with like stress hormone. So it was like really incredible experience to be able to get to the point when you can see it, notice it, witness it, not react to it, and realize how easy it is to just get overwhelmed by bodily sensations. And usually we are overwhelmed so quickly that we're reacting like instantly. So with practice of like regular practice of meditation, you get to maybe, sit a little bit longer, not react so quickly, or if you react so quickly, come out of this hyper state a little bit faster than usual. That's my hope anyway. So this is what I thought I'm going to just share about my experience with Vipassana this time. I might also maybe share some more stories or some more information in the newsletter. I'm going to send my first newsletter in January 2023. Last year I sent the last one in December, so this one is the first in the new year. So if you would like to be on the mailing list, I'm also linking. There is a link to my website. You have to scroll down on my website and you can sign up for the newsletter. So now to the fun part, depending what's fun for anybody, right? But while I was away, I received a couple of cool things, I think. So let's start with Artisan Tarot. So they are putting out new decks. I'm actually going to change the camera view now, okay? Because this cinematic view, which makes everything look so blurry in the background, it's not really great for showing things. It's wonderful for showing people. So bear with me, I'm going to change the camera and show you what was in the post when I went away. So let's change that. Okay, so I just wanted to share this amazing Lilith sculpture that I received. I purchased from Letizia Casano, Leti Luna. It's an earth Lilith. So because I want to put down my roots, I just felt this was a perfect one for me. I was always eyeing Leti's sculptures. They are really amazing. So if you don't know Leti, you have to check her Etsy shop, and also she's on Instagram. I will link her details below, also in the description box for you. You can she does, I think, some of these Liliths as a custom order. So if you like any of this, you can check it out for yourself. So first things that I got were 2 review decks. So this is the Jacques Viville by Artisan Tarot and Tarot the Ambiguities by Artisan Tarot. Artisan Tarot and Midnight Tarot, Gergely, Bagamary's decks, I think, are my favorite tarot decks right now when it comes to Marseille decks. These guys are really easy to use. They on linen stock paper. And the Jacques Viville, I thought like, okay, I don't need another Jacques Viville because I have one from Midnight Tarot, and I have one which is the original one which was published by US Games. But everybody was saying like how amazing the Artisan's Tarot Reveal is. So I thought, okay, I wanna check it out. And it actually is beautiful. Like just the colors and this incredible stock paper, which is just so easy to use. This purple, I just love it. I love Jacques Viville, just the facial expressions and that the star and the moon and the sun, they look different. It's just such a cool deck. Like the Hangman hangs upside down, death is cool. So yeah, this is by Artisan Tarot. I will make a maybe special video to review this deck, but I just wanted to share. It's gorgeous, really beautiful. So rendition by, I think it's William Ryder and Christina Condor. These guys together create Artisan Tarot, and they have sent me also like some little goodies. You know, there's like a little bag, and I know that they also make socks. There is some postcards. Let's just take a look. So these are, they also have like online lectures if you're interested in learning. And this is from the Tarot Ambiguities. So these are like little postcards that you can get as well. Okay, so the next one was this new tarot, the Ambiguities by Alejandro Rozan. The art was done by Alejandro Rozan. There's also a book written by Stephen Bright, our own Stephen. I hope you know Stephen. And this is the reimagination of the Tarot de Marseille, faithful to its style and inspired by its symbolism. Vibrant narrative emerges from its evocative art hand-drawn by Alejandro Rozan in Cuba. Details of this original deck are explored in Tarot Shapeshifter, its guidebook written by Stephen Bright in the UK. So they were designed to enhance the intuition of seasoned readers and excite newcomers to the rich and evolving tarot tradition. So this is a very crazy deck, so I'm just going to show you a couple of cards. I took a look at it yesterday. It looks very cool because it's made like this stained style, you know, like an old deck style, and it's totally reimagined. As you can see, there's like a different Tarot de Marseille that you had anything that I've seen before. It's like a totally new invention, and it's really cool. It's kind of funky, and it has this awesome linen paper. I really like it. I'm going to show the rest of it when I do the proper reviews of these two decks by Artisan Tarot. They deserve their own video. And also, I don't want to make this video an hour long, but I think it's going to be quite long. So this is two things that came for review from Artisan Tarot, and I got so excited about this one. So this is by Gergely Bagameri. He's the Midnight Tarot deck, right? I've showed his Reveal Tarot deck is also amazing, and I love it because he included also a couple of like regular, what did I say? Like regular Marseille tarot, like tarot cards of like Moon, Star, and so on, and Tower, so that you can choose whichever you want. It's very cool, and he's got a little bit different paper, which is amazing. So this is one of the decks that I think this is going to be a hit. I want it to be a hit. I think this is so cool. I'm actually really excited about this deck. So look at the color. First of all, it's like this, I don't even know what it is. Is it peachy? Is it between like pale rose and peach? I don't know, but it's pretty great. It's very simple design, right? And actually, let's put it there. And it's just so cool. Also, the review of the whole deck will come soon, but I just want to give you a taster because I watched this deck being created on Instagram, you know, and Gergely wrote that he created the images in Budapest because he's Hungarian, but also in Naples. He was traveling extensively in Naples in 2022, and it was inspired by the Italian decks as well. But like, how cool are these images? Oh my god, I'm like in love, guys. I love that the people take on the whole space. It's a little bit different to other Marseille type decks. I love how he made facial expressions, how he reimagined, like it's not traditional Marseille, okay? It's totally reimagined. It's a little bit different. I just love the colors he did, how he positioned the people, how he did the art. Look at the Death card, it's so cool. The Hangman, it's cool too. The Death card, it's just so cool. No, I love it. I don't want to show all the cards. I show all the cards in my review, which is done soon. The Fool is a little bit crazy as the Fool. Like, I love this little dude. Reminds me of Jean Noblet. And then the miners are also kind of, traditional. So this is Gergely's name. It's called Tarocchi 2023. It's for sale right now. He creates great decks. So this one has a little bit different paper to his usual decks. I haven't actually shuffled it yet. I think it's a bit thicker. I think it's going to shuffle well, but it has this beautiful, not rose paper-like because it's more slidey, but it's less slidey than his other decks. But I really enjoyed it. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. Of course, sharp edges like Tarot de Marseille. So yeah, great colors, and just makes me want to use it like right now, okay? But I didn't want to shuffle it yet, just to show it in the review. So yeah, I really highly advise you to take a look if you're a fan of Tarot de Marseille styles, to take a look at Tarocchi 23. It's very exciting and a little bit different. Like when you put the cards back into the box, it seems tiny little bit tight, and it's not really tight like the cards fit well, but when you glue the box, there's this thing that sticks out, so it's sometimes a little bit hard to put it in, but you can probably just use a little bag for it, or because the box is not perfect, but it fits well and it looks cool. I like the simplicity of it. So another deck that arrived just before Vipassana, and I actually notely took it with me to Vipassana, even though you can't take any books, any reading. I haven't read it at Vipassana, but I pulled every day. I pulled a card just to it would be like my diary. So I was writing down just the name, number of the card, and I'm going to share it with maybe a subscriber's video, what came up from Iami Oracle. It's an amazing deck. This is, I think, one of my favorite cards ever. There is something so deep about this deck, which I've heard from people like saying it, when Queen Osset says it's deep, you like take a notice, because she's not a fluffy fucking person. So I thought she compared it to the Weaver's Oracle, and I was surprised because I've never heard anybody compare any other deck to Weaver's Oracle. I mean, we have a couple of decks that could be contenders, like Linda's Red Seeds art, and there's a couple of decks which are really, really deep and go like cuttingly deep. The artwork in this deck, particularly the one which comes, there's 3 artists and you can see the style, but Aminat, she said she was looking for a style of artist specifically to show the African materials when they have this texture, and she did like such an amazing job with this deck. So Iami are the 3 mothers, 3 aspects of a creative force of nature, universal law. They may have been easily the first ancient mother seeds essence ever for every other goddess and god to stem out from. And they called Aje Dudu, Aje Pupa Un, and Aje Funfun. And this is the crown aspect. She always comes first. I was so drawn to the imagery, how drawn I am to the sacred feminine and just the aspects of creative natural force, and how I think that a lot of these feminine aspects were abused and hidden and changed and repressed and kind of monsterized, and I think the same happened maybe to Iami. This is the Aje Pupa, the mother archetype, and this deck is wow. And I'm not saying it just for the sake of saying it, because so many other people said that. I actually did use it a card a day, and when I now read and prepared all this for myself, I did like a review on this is Aje Funfun. the maiden, and she was one of my favorites. So I can share only one story, that when I pulled her in the morning, I always were pulling them after the afternoon tea, and then I went for evening meditation. There was actually only on that one day I heard an owl screech, and I only realized next day, because sometimes the cards, when you pull them, they're quite literal, and you see in the image and you're like, oh, that's exactly how it was reflected in my life. Obviously, they also much deeper and symbolical, because that's why we use the cards for, right? To get insights and reflect, and like they sometimes use them like mirrors. So what we are and where we are and what we are thinking, and what we are drawn to. It's very interesting. That's why I love like working with oracles and tarot. But this deck, obviously I'm going to review it as well, but I just want to mention that it is an amazing deck. It's deep, and I think Aminat is working on a bigger guidebook, and I would like give a bigger guidebook and more information, even though the guidebook that she has created, it's wonderful in its simplicity and explanations. But I also always, before I use them, I love this Iami Oracle, the ones with the beautiful eyes, guardians of the night, I greet you gently. It's one of those decks, 44 cards, that the review is coming soon, and I hope you will enjoy it. I'm waiting for the Journey into Egypt cards by Julie Kuchia Watts. I have ordered this from the book Depository. It's the guidebook to Journey into Egypt Tarot. I will have chats on Inspired Tarot Map with Julie and with Aminat as well about the Iami Oracle, and with Julie about her new deck and about Journey into Egypt Tarot. And then the last deck that I have purchased, because everybody I appreciate on YouTube was talking about it, like how amazing it is, and it is the Contigi Oracle by Laura Zuspan was the artist, and then Rare Diamond wrote the book. It's an ecological, spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. And oh wow, this is another one that I was just like, oh my god, you know what, like for me, the most amazing part about this deck, I just love the fucking keywords. I don't have a deck that has this type of keywords, and I realized I'm a poet in some big part, I really respond well. Maybe that's why I respond so well to Margaret Peterson Tarot. These poems are like little, I don't know, little haiku or like little inspirational phrases that really awaken my intuition. So, for example, a fork in the river, the self-seeing eye, and there is the unburdened bones. It's so evocative to my mind, at least. And then the book is like, oh my god, if you want, this is one of the best oracles put out there recently, I think, and I agree with everybody who said so, because it's actually really, really great, and it's so much work has gone into it. So the booklet is like, you get a story, you get keynotes, you get symbology, you get guidance, and it's not fluff, it's really interesting. You get an icon portal with questions, practice, what you can do, usually very creative prompts, ecological connection. It's beautiful. It's such a great work. So I'm going to probably do a review of this deck as well, just for the sake of sharing the beauty of it and the complexity and how much work went into it. So your ears become a butterfly, they're like crazy. The sentient nest, or the living mountain. The artwork is gorgeous. Everything about this deck feels good. It's a little bit, on the difficult side of like shuffling, because it's round and it's quite big. But you can always go this way and it will be just fine. But yeah, every star is a doorknob, guided by Polaris. Your feet are 2 fish, the juniper caduceus, the voice of the moon. And it's also very interesting that you can get this deck book depository, Amazon, whatever your nearest. If you have a bookshop where you can support the local bookstore, that's great. I don't have any of those. Coiled snake. So you get what I mean. It's like the infinite web. Your delight charms the world. I just love those keywords. You don't know where you are, but you are free. And I have to say that this is very Vipassana-like deck. It's very cool. And that's like a big statement, because like not many decks come close or you feel like using after Vipassana, but this one, Iami Oracle, like it's really great. Pollination, fierce desert flower, the moss cauldron. So yeah, wingless you fall into the sea. Wounded harpy eagle. Roots grow from your feet. Okay, we can stop there, but for a mass published deck, this is just spectacular. I think this is really, probably if I knew, I saw it kind of before, but you don't get decks these days, so many anyway. Like I get decks sent for reviews, and I have so many decks. I started getting rid of decks just because I don't have space to keep so much. Plus also you change, you grow out of certain decks. But yeah, this deck, definitely great. I'm looking forward to the Journey into Egypt tarot. Of course, they ended up being stuck in customs. Iami Oracle, amazing. Tarot G23, oh my god. This crazy tarot of ambiguities, I will check it out. And amazing Jacques Viville deck as well by Artisan Tarot. These are all the goodies of me sitting quietly and respectfully for 10 days silence while the world was going on and the things were coming. These are my new nails, by the way, done before Vipassana, and I love them. They made me happy. They kept me, some color, some electrifying zzz going on with them. I really enjoy them. And that's it, my friends. Thank you for sticking up with me for so long. I hope you enjoy it. And I really feel like saying, may you all be happy, and may you all have peace of mind, and may this world be a better place because of you. Bye.